Welcome to this video. Today I want to talk about VPNs, more specifically, are VPNs safe? Now, to get even more specific, what I mean by that is, are VPNs living up to what they're marketing? Do they track you or not? And are they what they claim to be? Now, for those of you who do not know, VPN is a virtual private network, and basically what it does is it helps increase privacy and security by hiding your IP address as well as encrypting the information going to and from your computer. And this is especially useful when using a public Wi-Fi connection because it helps protect you as far as your information from hackers as well as other people that would like to track you, such as your internet service provider and advertising companies, social media companies, and governments, and a lot of other people. So when you use a VPN, basically you're saying, because I don't trust all of these other people, hackers, governments, internet service providers, advertising companies, because I don't trust all of them, I'm going to use a VPN service to protect my privacy. And you're basically saying, I trust my VPN more than I trust them. I'm trusting that my VPN is living up to what they're marketing, what they're saying. When you look for a VPN, one of the biggest selling points is whether or not they log you. When you look at VPN websites, when you're kind of shopping for VPNs, virtually all of them will have a no logging phrase or something on their website that markets no logging, no tracking. We do not track you, we do not log you. But you have to understand that that term, no logging, is kind of open to interpretation. And we've also found that through public court records that VPNs do not always live up to that claim. A specific example is IPVanish, where they were contacted by authorities who had tracked an IP back to them. The IP that they had tracked was being used by someone, a criminal who was involved in criminal activity. So law enforcement contacts IPVanish asking them to identify this individual and to give logs on their internet activity. Reports indicate that initially they said no, but later they said yes, and this can be interpreted in different ways. Some see it as IPVanish saying, well, we don't track our users, but we can track this specific individual. We can turn on tracking for them right now and get back to you. But in order to track someone, or in order to know who to track in the first place, you already have to have some tracking in place to identify who they are. Now, to be completely clear, even if a VPN advertises that they don't log you, they all have the capability of logging you. The question is to whether or not they do or do not do it. Another part of that selling point is jurisdiction, and you want to find a company or a VPN company that falls under jurisdiction with no required logging or tracking laws. Some of you may be familiar with the 5 Eyes, the 9 Eyes, and the 14 Eyes. These are alliances between different countries that share mass surveillance. And so when you look for a VPN, you try to find a VPN that has jurisdiction outside of the 14 Eyes. But then that brings into other questions, and that has to do with outsourcing. A lot of these companies who claim jurisdiction in one part of the world also outsource, and so it kind of blurs those lines of jurisdiction because they have offices that would fall under different jurisdictions. A good example of this is CyberGhost, who they claim jurisdiction in Romania, but they also have ties in Israel as well as London, England, which of course is part of the UK, which makes it part of the 14 Eyes, more specifically the 5 Eyes. And so again, it comes down to, are these companies what they say they are? Are they doing what they're marketing, what they're claiming? Can you really trust them? Additional example and questions that have come up are with the very popular NordVPN and ProtonVPN. There have been reports on the internet that these two services are actually owned and or operated by one company, or in other words, that these two services are coming from the same company, and that company is said to be Tesonet, which is a data mining company. Now, the evidence connecting ProtonVPN to Tesonet is stronger than the evidence connecting NordVPN to Tesonet. And nothing's actually been proven, but there are a lot of conversations about this on the internet, a lot of question marks, and it appears that ProtonVPN doesn't completely deny some sort of tie between them and Tesonet. As to what exactly that tie is still kind of ongoing and under investigation. Now, of course, ProtonVPN or supporters of them will push back and say that this has been skewed, that it's been blown out of proportion, that everything out there is not completely accurate. But if you're looking for a service, a VPN that doesn't track you, and then it would appear that they're owned by a company that does data mining, that's an immediate red flag. In addition to that, it would appear that they're lying, and that's also another huge red flag with VPN. So are VPNs safe? Well, basically it comes down to trust. Are they doing what they claim to be doing? Now, don't get me wrong, I would definitely still recommend using a VPN over not using one, especially if you're using public Wi-Fi. I would never, ever, ever use public Wi-Fi without a VPN. And in addition to that, I would never ever recommend a free VPN over a paid VPN, because the likelihood of you being tracked with a free VPN is much higher, because just like with free antivirus software, you're not paying for it with money, you're paying for it in data. They're collecting data on you so that they can then turn that into a profit by improving their product. And also by they can increase their margin share by offering services for free. So again, just because something's free doesn't mean it's really free. You're paying for it in a different way other than hard-earned cash. So the long and short answer to the question, are VPNs safe? The answer is yes and no. It really just depends on whether or not the VPN is living up to what they're marketing and what they claim to be and what they claim to do. And so the best defense that I can offer or recommend when it comes to VPNs is just stay up to date on the news with VPNs. Stay up to date with the specific VPN service that you use, and that way you'll know whether or not they are safe to continue using, because if they're not, eventually it will get out and you will find out.